This is the XNC Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, XNC Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox Newscast. Welcome to the XNC Podcast. I'm Colteastwood. I couldn't remember where the button was, so sorry we kept you waiting. This is episode 155. I'm Colteastwood. I'm here joined with middle-aged game guy, and we're just talking behind the scenes before all the green lights went up. And what a week it's been, Mag. How have you been?
Yeah, man. I've been very busy, man. It's been a lot of stuff on the go on the personal level, on the work level, and then on the gaming level. It's been a lot of stuff going on, and of course the Euro Cup's on right now, so there's a lot of sports going on. There's the Stanley Cup Final, Game 7 tonight. That's happening. It's a lot of stuff going on, man. So it's been an exciting week. But how about you?
It's been kind of a weird week. I didn't actually start playing games over the past 3 days until this afternoon. Picked up Elden Ring, reinstalled it. I don't know, I'm like 100 hours in and completely lost. So I was in a party chat playing the game, and I'm so far away from where everyone else can play the DLC. I just kind of wanted to play the game, and what a magical game that is. It's like, how much did you play it 2 years ago?
I put in 130, but about 131 hours or something like that, give or take. And I had a lot of trouble with the last boss, so shout out, I can't remember who it was, but shout out to the mystery man who came and saved my my behind when I was just getting chewed up from the final boss, and he just jumped in there and helped me out. And then
some rando?
Well, no, he wasn't a rando. He was on my friend list. I just can't remember who it was. And he was amazing. He helped me out with the final boss, and he pushed me over the finish line. But yeah, I ended up with about 131 hours, give or take, if I'm not mistaken. I checked a little while ago on Xbox. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I might actually get it on PlayStation and start from scratch, and then do the whole game, and then go through the DLC, or I might just do what you did and pick it up, because I already own it on Xbox. Mm-hmm. So I might just pick up from Xbox, but I probably have to wander around for about 2 or 3 hours to kind of get you know what I mean? Like reclimatized.
Yeah, first thing I did was I went up to an enemy and I drank a flask, and I'm like, nope. Then I drank another flask. Yeah, the buttons, and I was in a
the buttons, the menus, the maps, the whatever else, like trying to figure that all out. So I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, do I go back on Xbox and just kind of fart around for like 2 or 3 hours and see if I can get back into it? Or do I completely start from scratch on the PlayStation and just start as like, my little naked man walking around with a stick beating people with it, and build up from there, so I don't have to go through, what the hell button does this do? What does that do? Did I just throw a rock at that guy instead of like throw a spear at him or whatever?
Oh, the life?
I might, or I might do both, because I really enjoyed the game, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I might just play it on both. I might finish. I might do Shadow of the Erdtree on Xbox, and then do the entire experience over again on PlayStation. So I'm not really sure yet. I haven't decided. However, some people, man, are really, really into it. Like, I mean, I know 2 people already who've played the DLC twice. Mind you, the first run through that they did was for review. So they did it for review for YouTube, whatever else. And then they're going and doing a second run right now. And I'm like, you finished all the bosses? And he's like, yeah, man, I finished all the bosses, and I'm going back to do it again. So I'm like, holy crap. So it must be really good, man.
Yeah, and I was going to say that when I loaded it up today, it's actually pretty rewarding to load up an old save from almost 2 years ago, and seeing the world that I'd opened up and places I'd been, a lot of the stuff I forgot. It's pretty rewarding to actually pick it up. Even I think some people say it only made it halfway through the game, but I have well over 100 hours into it. The last boss I defeated was Rodon, I think. So I have like the big red wig for my armor.
Yeah.
But I did so much periphery stuff and wasted so much time going around the world and trying to take on different locations. I never played it properly. And funny enough, even with that, Mag, I think I got such a great experience out of what I did play that I don't have any regrets. Like, did I go and beat the game? No. Did I still enjoy it? Heck yeah. That's how good it is.
I loved it.
Yeah,
I mean, I spent about 7 hours. I mean, obviously not all at once, but I spent about 7 hours farming in like certain areas, and there was just like these enemies that dropped a lot of whatever, and I would just go and farm these little areas and try to build myself up to go face, the jackass that's on the horse with the big long stick. And I'm like, because I mean, you go up to him and he just goes like, and then all of a sudden I'm dead in one shot, and I'm like, all right, dude, calm down. I'm 70 hours into this game or whatever, and you're still absolutely one-shotting me to death. So, I would go to areas and I didn't regret it because I literally, went through every part of that map and just enjoyed it for what it was. But the one parts of the map, one thing about the game I did not like the underground parts where you go down like you go down like an elevator.
They're very claustrophobic and feel like you can't get back.
It was confusing. I didn't know where the hell I was going. I didn't know how to get up to like these other levels. And then you finally get to this spot and I'm like, oh God, I finally got to this precipice that I've been trying to reach. And you get to that precipice and then there's a guy standing there and then he literally just looks at you funny and you drop dead. Yeah. And then I'm just like, oh, come on, man. Now I got to go back and do that again. So it used to upset me quite a bit, but it's okay. That's part of the Souls experience, right? The Soul experience.
I had to tell myself that.
You got to do it. I hear, though, and I've heard it from quite a few people, especially some prominent Souls players, that the final boss is so hard that it's almost unplayable.
Yeah.
However, I've also talked to 2 people who finished it with no issues at all. Well, I mean, not no issues, but finished it like fairly, straightforward, didn't have any issues with it. So I'm like, I don't know, man. And one of them I saw video evidence. It's like, here it is. I'm facing the final boss with no power-ups or no anything. And I'm like, how? And then I'm hearing other people saying like it's so hard it's even harder than Sekiro. And I'm like, please don't say that. Because Sekiro is a nightmare. I don't care. I don't care what Randall Thor says. Okay, Sekiro was a nightmare. There's this big friggin' ape. I couldn't kill this son of a gun. I fought him for weeks, dude. Weeks. This big stupid ape who's just like right by he's right by a waterfall, like a big pond.
What, in Sekiro or in Elden Ring?
No, in Sekiro. And he was just sitting there, right? And I'm like, all right, what's this guy want? And I walked over to him and he started thrashing around. Yeah, and he was being a total whatever. And then I'm just like, all right. So I'm fighting this guy. He's throwing temper tantrums. He's smashing his arms in the ground. Like, it was impossible.
Don't stop.
Yeah, it was impossible, man. And I was just like, I just can't with this guy. So I tried and tried and tried, and I just couldn't do it. I finally got to the final boss of the game, and I never finished it. I am a fraud. I never finished the game. The final boss was so effing hard. I said, you know what? I'm sorry, but I'm done. It's still sitting there on my Xbox. I could always re-download it. I mean, it's in the library, right?
I just can't do that. I think maybe so there's a lot of gamers that are like that, but that's just not me. And it's never been me where I just like stick with it, dying over and over. It's like, well, fun has escaped me. Enjoyment has escaped me. Frustration is now pouring in. And everyone's like, dude, you got the whole get good thing. But I tried to play Sekiro. I got like a chapter or so in. I'm like, this is not, dude, I'm not going to be able to hang with it. And I'm not good enough. But
it's so hard. I had such trouble with that game. And the other thing is too. I know it sounds kind of fraudulent, but I found it to be very confusing because I'm looking at the map and I'm like, okay, how do I get there? Right? And I'm like, there's no waypoints because when you start getting used to like other open world games like The Witcher, play other games like even like Dying Light 2, any basically Ubisoft open world game, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, whatever, you set waypoints, right? So you go to the map, you're like, all right, I'm going to go over to this castle. You click on it, you got a waypoint. Okay, it's 1,000 yards away or whatever the hell it is. But then when you try to do that in this game, and I'm like, where am I going? Right? I'm like, where the hell am I? Why am I here again? Am I walking in? And then I realize I'm literally walking in circles or whatever, right? And so I found it to be a little bit too confusing for me. And Elden Ring, on the other hand, was a whole different story. I had no problem with the map. None whatsoever. I actually found it to be much simpler, much easier to understand. And I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. So it was more my jam in terms of the Souls experiences because it was an open world Souls, and I'm an open world game player, so to speak, whatever.
Yeah,
and so
same.
I had the freedom and option to get good with like the crappy guys. You know what I mean? And build
Yeah,
myself
you could
up
just
in a
free
way
roam until you felt comfortable. And
yeah, and then I could go up and I can absolutely annihilate somebody with like 2 or 3 hits. Like I did, like Demon Souls. I had some trouble with or whatever. But like if you actually could pick and choose what levels you go to. When they released the remake in 2020, and I went back and played that. But like you can go and all of a sudden you face a boss and you could like 3 hit him and it's dead. And that's only because I was doing runs in the easier areas over and over and over. So I learned those maps like almost by heart. And then you do that. So like I enjoyed it. So a lot of fun. Anyways,
I was thinking about Elden Ring as I was playing it. I'm like, there's not many games that have this like sheer beauty and awe and the sense of scale and the level of detail that you don't often get in games. And we've played a lot of open world games, Mag, right? And I look at Elden Ring and I'm like, it just seems to do variety. Like you never really run across the same enemies very often in that world. And the world just looks so amazing and just feels so organic. And I thought, how many games do you get that feel this special? And the way I was in a party with Red, Holly, that blue number, and Fonz, and they were just gushing about the game. We were talking about how we hope that other open world games could feel that great. I remember playing Dragon's Dogma earlier this year, and it felt really wonderful in a lot of ways, but there's something frightening and lonesome about Elden Ring, but it's so beautiful. I think it really is a special game that even if I asked in the chat, even if you're not a Souls fan, there's something about Elden Ring that brings in the regular everyday player that ends up liking this. What the heck is this septic sauce? Gaz in the chat says Tim Dog gave me AIDS. Well, that's because it's because you like Xbox, bro. We love Tim Dog.
Actually, joke's on you, Gaz. You already had AIDS. You just didn't know it yet. Anyhow, yeah.
Elden Ring's great.
I wouldn't laugh if it was a death sentence anymore. But now you could just take a pill and you could live the rest of your life with it. So you're fine. You're fine, Gaz. You'll be fine.
Is that true? I mean,
Magic
Johnson's
I know.
still around.
I know a couple people. I know a bunch of people who died when they got it in the 90s, and now I know a bunch of people now that have it and they're just totally fine, like nothing happened, and they even have kids.
Dang. Well,
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
Dr. Mag in the house.
Yeah, it's just a pill. I don't know if Americans have to pay for it. Canadians don't have to pay for it. It's covered by our government, so it's free for. Well, it's not free because they destroy us with taxes. So essentially, you're still sort of paying for it, right? But whatever. Anyways, thanks, Gaz.
Thanks, Gaz, for bringing that topic into.
When I see you in person, I'm going to give you herpes too. So might as well give you the.
Hey, you can live with that one too, I'm sure.
Yeah, you can live with that one. Don't worry, we know. Carry on. So Elden Ring.
Elden Ring is great. I am not going to push myself through to play the Erd Tree DLC, but I will dabble around with the game. And there's a couple games I've been dinking around with and kind of getting tired of them. Kind of overplay some stuff. So I'm in this lull right now where I think everybody's probably in. What am I going to play over the next month? Flintlock comes out in like 3 weeks.
I'm excited for that. I'm going to play that day one. Even though I've got like a monster backlog that I literally have an agenda that'll probably take me into like 2025 of games that I'm going to play or whatever. But there's some that I'm going to sneak in there day ones just to, you know what I mean? Like I got to get them in there. And Flintlock's one of them. So I'm going to be like, no, I got to give this a good, I'm going to give this a good go.
Yeah. Well,
you excited about it?
Yeah, I am excited about it. I wanted to, Fonz played the demo, and Fonz is really hard to please, and he's famously very hard to please, and he really enjoyed the Flintlock demo, so he told me to go play it. I haven't done that yet. I think since this comes out on the 18th of July, I'll just wait. Shout out to Anon Gamer for gifting 5 channel memberships. I didn't see who got those, but welcome to the membership. YouTube's got a new thing where I can upload a video, and there's like an option to leave it open. I can schedule the video and then leave it open for channel members to watch it early. And this is a really big deal because I'll finish a video at like 11 o'clock at night, Mag. It's most of the time when I finish a video way late in the end of the night before I go to bed. And then I'll set it to unlisted. This is all YouTube stuff. And then I got to wake up in the morning at 7, like set an alarm and go set it to public so I can leave it available for channel members. And so if you're a channel member, you get early access to videos, and you won't see it, but it'll make it easier for me to bring those to you I appreciate it. And thank you for being here. I didn't really say yet, Mag, but this is the Ecstasy Podcast. Meg and I run the show every Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern, and we're on YouTube and we're on demand on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and a bunch of other podcast platforms, so you can listen to the show at your leisure. And we appreciate you. Hit the like button if you're here. We have sort of a short show today. We've got a couple spicy topics and a couple of interesting ones, and we'll get to them. And I'll kind of bounce around, Meg, as we go from thing to thing, because while we were talking about Elden Ring, I thought it would be a great time to segue into another major Souls game that has caused a bit of controversy. And I have to be super careful about how I present this because, oh man, it's a really tough thing. And I don't know where you sit. So maybe I'll let you start first and then I'll come in with the, I'll be the closer on the mound.
Thanks. So he gives me, so it's a controversial topic, so I have to step in it first. Okay, fine, Colt. What would you like to talk about?
You already talked about herpes and AIDS. This is going to be a easy meatball pitch for you to handle. We'll stay in the theme of the Blue Jays.
All right, so
as they play really
go
well
ahead.
this year. So Black Myth Wukong is a Souls-like game that is from a small studio named Game Science. It was like the coolest looking game at Summer Games Fest. But when it was shown, I'll reset for the audience. When Black Myth Wukong was shown at Summer Games Fest, it was a multi-plat, but when it showed, there was no logo for the Xbox console. And so the very first thing everybody did was investigative journalism. The people I was sitting with at Summer Games Fest were like looking at our phones. Why in the heck aren't they saying Xbox? And I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. PlayStation is marketing this thing. So of course it's not going to say Xbox, but you find that out when you read articles a day later. Blah, 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 blah. No, it's not coming to Xbox. Game Science puts out a press release and says, the game doesn't meet our quality standards and optimization of performance, so to speak. So it's not coming to Xbox, but we are hearing different. I don't know what you heard, Mag. I thought since you could probably say, hey, I don't know anything, this is all I've heard, or this is what people are saying, you could bring that out of speculation and we can kind of grow off from there because it can get pretty dicey for what we think's happening behind the scenes. What do you know? What have you heard? And say hi to the audience. They love you.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I think that, first of all, I'm excited for the game. I'm not going to wait for Xbox. Depending on how much I got going on. And when's it coming out? September? Is it September? I think it's, or is it August?
All the mess. I don't even know. I
think it's the end of August. If I'm not mistaken, it might be the end of August. But someone in the chat 100% will clarify.
I'll look
very
while
shortly.
you're talking.
Now, all right. Yeah, I can see the chat too. So, anyways, the one thing I did here is that if it was about the
August
Series
20th.
S,
go ahead.
August 20th. Okay,
Yep.
There you go. So if it is about the Series S, it was about the fact that the game needs 18 gigs of RAM to run, and the Series S has 10 gigs of RAM to run. So maybe they had trouble with that.
Who told you that it needed 18 gigs?
Oh, I saw it on some other article or whatever. I can't even remember exactly who.
Some guy that says Xbox Series S is a holdback.com.
No,
I'm just kidding.
It was something on Steam. I think it was in reference to the game on PC.
Oh, okay.
And its minimum requirement was 18 gigs of RAM to run.
Okay.
Right? So I think they just made that correlation from there, saying, okay, well, it needed 18 gigs of RAM to run there. That's obviously the minimum spec. Well, if that's the case, then the Series S can't do it. Series X, no problem, but the Series S only runs with 10 gigs of RAM. So, like I said, I'm not a tech guy. I don't work for Digital Foundry. I whatever and all that jazz. I'm just saying that's why I read that article, so that's a possibility. Now, the other thing I hear this other stuff about, saying, oh well, maybe Sony secretly did this and maybe they secretly did that, and Sarah Bond said this and Sarah Bond may have said that and blah 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 and whatever. I don't listen. First of all, I don't listen to executives. All right. So the corporate doublespeak is not my language.
Okay.
Now, I hear it every day, but it's not a language I speak. But anyways, the point is that if this was in any which way or form, some kind of a Sony money-hatted or timed exclusive or this and that, don't you think that they would have been shouting this from the rooftops that it's coming first on PlayStation? You can only play it this fall on PlayStation, or PlayStation and PC, this and that. And they did say it at the showcase when I did. That was the first thing I noticed actually when they did the trailer. I watched the trailer and I went, "Wow, this is looking better and better." Because at first I wasn't really interested. I'm like, "Who's this monkey man guy?" Like, I'm like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Why does he got hair all over his face?" It was bothering me. I don't know why.
It looked
Anyways,
like me.
I'm like watching. Yeah, and I'm watching this game and I'm looking at the game. Then I saw the summer showcase and I'm like, "Wow, this actually looks really good."
Yeah.
And then I saw the bottom, and then it said available on PC and PS5, and I'm like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
But it wasn't Sony that was touting that. It was just part of the placard from the developer that released the trailer. It just said PlayStation 5 and Steam or whatever. And so I think that if it was something that was going to be a little bit spicier, like some secret exclusive or some, conspiracy theory, whatever, which I'm all into, by the way. I love that stuff. But this doesn't seem to be that situation. I think that they just I think it's going to be the same as Baldur's Gate 3. That they're going to take an extra 6 months or so and try to optimize it to be able to optimize it for there. But I think they want to get it out first for those other systems and then start, and work on it for the Xbox as an afterthought. I don't think it was a slight against Xbox. That's just my thought. I may be wrong. Maybe they don't like them. I mean, there's a distinct possibility they don't like them. They're Chinese developers.
Oh, jeez.
And China and China and the United States have wonderful trade, right? They have wonderful trade with each other and everything else because they can't exist without each other. I don't care what anybody says. China makes everything that we purchase in North America. China makes, okay, including the consoles that we talk about on this very show.
Yep,
they're making all that stuff. But China can't survive without the United States because in the United States and Canada, because the United States and Canada are the biggest consumers on the planet of Chinese product. So therefore we need each other. So there's that. However, there's a little bit of disdain in there. You know what I mean? Between the two countries. I like Americans. Who knows? Maybe they don't like it. That's not that far out of the realm of possibility, is it? That's not out of the realm of possibility. They might just be like, we'll deal with it after. Mind you, at the same time, Chinese and Japanese don't like each other at all. So that's kind of, I would find that to be hard to believe that they would do a deal with them based on the way they like each other. So that's diving into real deep, conspiracy stuff. But anyways, let's get back on topic here. I think that they're just going to optimize it later for the Series X and S.
Yeah.
Probably in early 2025.
So Matt gave us so much.
I started so normal, and then completely went off the deep end with weird political stuff, and then went right back up to normal.
You were like,
I think we're okay.
You were like short round in Indy going down the minecart track, and then there's a broken section. You had to jump it through the waterfall, and I was just watching you take the ride.
Hey, man,
Indiana
whatever.
Jones.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot for me to unpack from what Mag said, but I'll start with the first part. You said the PC requirements say that there's 18 gigs you need for recommended specs, and that stuff doesn't correlate with consoles because I'll just put it plainly to everybody who's worried about the Series S. There are 4,000 games that are made for the Series S generation, and all of them run and look amazing on the Xbox Series S, albeit with a lower resolution, and sometimes, not often, only at 30 FPS. So I will not believe for a moment that a great looking game can't run on the Xbox Series S. But I will say that small developers do have a harder time with optimization with Xbox's cumbersome XDK and porting process. Some of this I'm speculating that I'm saying off the best of my ability, okay? I think the developers, if they're smaller, have a harder time with the longer porting process it takes to get games on Series X and Series S. Okay? Let me just dash in here as well that normally they optimize for the Series S because that's the harder one, the most demanding, and then they port up to the Series X by increasing resolution and maybe frame rate, okay? So outside of Baldur's Gate 3 being delayed on Series X, S and X because of split screen, Larian Studios is not a small studio, but split screen means you have two instances of the game, which is super demanding and super processor intensive, and you've got a smaller RAM pool, right? So I don't want people telling me that Baldur's Gate is the reason why Black Myth Wukong is not coming to Series S and X at the same time as the PS5. But I will excuse a small studio like Game Science for trying to get everything done, because my assumption is that they get the PC port ready to launch, they get the PS5 port, and last on their priority and workload list is to do the Xbox version because it's a smaller install base. Now, if they were trying to hit an August 20th release date and they said, we're having a hard time getting everything ready because that Series S and X is just another big workload and it just takes longer, so we're going to delay it. The rumor was that people were talking, I cannot say much because I've not heard firsthand from anyone, but the rumor was that there was more than just optimization issues, and some people were implying, Mag, that the optimization issue was a straight up lie from Game Science. I'm just telling you that's what I heard, and I'd see no motivation why a small studio would lie about why they're not coming to the Xbox platform. Like, what would be their motivation or their motive to lie? Why would that game not come out? If all they're saying is we need more time to get it up to our quality standards for performance, that's a totally viable thing to say. But other people are implying that maybe PlayStation had something to do with it. And that's when you were saying, why wouldn't they just shout it from the rooftops?
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I mean, if it was something that was going to be something they paid for, if it's something that they paid for and secretly money hatted this or whatever else, they wouldn't secretly money hat anything. If they're money hatting anything, you're going to know about it because they've invested that money, and essentially that's advertising for them. So why would they actively hide that? You know what I'm saying? Because you notice how Sony's not saying anything about it?
No, they're not saying anything at all. Like, they have every right to brag about it if they were paying money. They're paying their money.
If they invested money for any form of exclusivity, right, timed or otherwise, I think they would be talking about that the best place to play it on console, the only place to play it on console, excuse me, not the best, the only place to play it on console this fall will be on the PlayStation 5. Right? So I think that they would be talking about that actively, because why would you invest money and then not talk about it? I don't know. To me, it just doesn't make any sense. So, I mean, they've done stuff like that somewhat before, like being vague about, for example, like the Final Fantasy remakes. They're being sort of vague and
very vague,
not really telling people what's going on or what's the story, this and that. And then we're hearing after the fact that it's most likely that all 3 games are going to be exclusive, and then they're not going to go to any other console until after the 3rd installment is already released. And then it'll probably be a year after that, would be my guess. And then you'll be able to probably get it as a bundle, like let's say on the Xbox or whatever. Yeah, something like that. As for that, like they talked about that though. Because that was something exclusive to them or whatever, and they talked about this is where you could play it, the only place you could play it, and then the best console experience you're going to play it is right here, and blah, blah, blah. That's kind of their MO. So why would they completely shut down, especially if they've got what's quote-unquote a light lineup for the fall? Wouldn't this be something you would really, really want to hype up? And they haven't said really much about it. So I don't know.
There's only one explanation, and I really would hate to say it out loud. It sounds insane. But are you ready?
Sure. Can't be anything more insane than I say.
I know Magnum's like, Mag being the Sony defender. Like, Mag's being exactly what I would expect. He's being very logical and reasonable. What I'm about to say does not sound logical and reasonable. But I'm just going to say it as the devil's advocate because I think it's stupid. What if PlayStation... Their plan was to, in the 9th inning, we'll stay with baseball. Sure. In the 9th inning, they say, hey, Game Science, here's a little check. How about you put the Xbox version out later? Well, what are we supposed to say? Well, let's kill 2 birds with 1 stone. How about you tell them?
They could.
How about we'll give you this money, and then you just tell everybody that you need more time to get running on the Xbox consoles. And that does 2 things. That tells the world Xbox isn't important enough for small developers. Xbox is harder to develop for developers. The Series S is a holdback. And if you want to play great games, you have to get a PlayStation. what if PlayStation is like, here's a little check, put out a statement and say you're not ready for the Xbox console? I think that's insane, because I think it'd be far better for PlayStation to say, hey, we love this studio and this game has so much potential. We're like, hey, we would love to have special treatment on the PlayStation, and we paid for an undisclosed exclusivity. But it's easier for me to believe that they just aren't ready with the last priority, which is for them to port to Xbox.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to feel like there's something shady going behind the scenes that we'll never hear an answer to. Because if we found out what really was going on, there'd be like a major legal dispute going on. So I don't know. I could play this game on PC or PS5 day one.
I doubt they would even risk that. I doubt they would even risk
doing no
something.
Regulators looking at PlayStation for little rinky-dink deals like timed exclusivity or buying exclusivity to Stellar Blade in the last moment on their last 6 months of development. You know, people are like, "Where's the regulators on this?" They finally just backed off the ABK deal like this week.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I to me, it's not really much of it. I mean, I know some people are freaking out about it, but I'm like, to me, it's not really much of a story in regards of what's happening with it. It said it'll go to Xbox when it goes there, or Magnum. You could do this. If you really wanted to play it day one, you could play it on PS5, or you could play it on a PC.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still two options there. So, I mean, if you're a PC player, then it's a non-issue. If you have a PlayStation, it's a non-issue. Just play it over there. The same way that some people say, and a lot of people say, I see the same thing. Just buy an Xbox.
Just buy an Xbox.
Just buy an Xbox. It's the same people. But now the other people are saying it. Just buy a PlayStation. Go buy a PC. Or whatever. You could still do that too. So, I mean, like, the options are there. As for what's happening, all we can do is speculate. And that's fine. We can speculate for until we're blue in the face. But at the end of the day, does it really matter? Not really. It is, as a consumer, you just focus on whether you want to play the game or not. And if you have access to it, then that's entirely up to you. Or if you don't have access to it, then you could find an avenue to get access to it if you really, really, really wanted to. But I don't see people clamoring. Like it's not like GTA 6 is locked out of the Xbox. You know what I'm saying?
It's not a console selling game for sure. Shout out to Jez Corden in the chat who sent a 10-pound super to say, ooh. We appreciate you, Jez. I know Jez Jez wrote a great article. I read the article that he put out about Black Myth. Their site covered this, and it's just if I don't say this, I just let sleeping dogs lie, but I think it's very easy for PlayStation to make very small moves to minimize Xbox and suffocate them in their own bed that Xbox has made. Xbox has made this bed over the past decade where they're harder to rise above and stand above on the shoulders of the giants that they compete with, because they've made it difficult for themselves. It's very, very easy for PlayStation to make a couple of maneuvers here or there to absolutely bury Xbox and make it hurt where it hurts most. And if they did this for something like Black Myth Wukong, it seems like it's so insane to believe that's true on a game that is so small in the grand scheme of things.
And you could say the same thing on the other side. It's called business.
Yeah.
Microsoft just paid $70 billion to essentially control a huge portion of the gaming sphere, right? Of the development teams in this, in this industry that we talk about and we are not really part of, but you know what I'm saying, that we enjoy their products, right? Yeah. So if you look at it that respect, how is that any different? So let's just say, for argument's sake, let's say that Sony did do something, right? Let's say they did. and they secretly, they met in a back alley, and they were holding one of those, they were holding one of those, those comical bags from like the 1930s, like cartoons where it had a big dollar sign on it, and the guy's wearing like a robber mask, like a raccoon, like raccoon eyes, and he's sitting there going, and then he hands him the bag, and then he goes, and then runs away. If they did that, okay, then they did that.
But they don't have to tiptoe with the raccoon mask. They don't have to.
Microsoft I know, but Microsoft just bought $70 billion worth of developers, not to lock them out, but certainly to cause quite a kerfuffle. And that, did you not think that there'd be let's just say if they did do that, did you not think that there'd be a clapback? Did you not think that maybe there'd be like some kind of a moment where it's called competition, where the other ones will say, okay, well, if they're doing that, then we're going to do this. Then if they're doing that, then they're doing this.
Okay, let me bring it back.
And it goes back and forth. So like it doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like who cares?
I sort of want to make a stance on it, but I want to be careful because I'm not involved at all. But what did King David say? He put out a video. He talked about it on Iron Lords. Do you know what he said about who he talked to?
Actually, no, I did not watch Iron Lords yet. I'm behind like three. I'm behind like 3 podcasts right now.
I know. Shout out to my son. He had his 13th birthday yesterday, so I missed Iron Lords. And what a good kid he is. And
congratulations.
Yeah, I only watched part of a video that King David put out where he was like talking in code. He's like, I'm the one who's got feet on the ground. I'm the one talking to the people who gave me firsthand information. I do know that his claim was that Sarah Bond told him. My issue is if Sarah Bond said, gosh, this is so dangerous. This is so dangerous. All right, I'm going to...
Say that shit with your chest. Say that shit with your chest. I love that. I love that song. Ariana Grande. I love you.
Okay, I'll just do this, and we're just it's just satire, okay? If Sarah Bond was like, you know what, King? You know why Black Myth Wukong isn't on Xbox? No, why, Sarah? PlayStation paid for it, and they're not saying a word. All right, I gotta go. Like, if that really happens, I start to wonder sometimes if the frustration that is faced with the way that PlayStation does business. Let's also pretend like that's not even true. Then I can still say this, okay? The way that PlayStation does business has to be so frustrating to where Xbox is telling certain people to go ahead and leak things. Remember when you and I talked about what if some Microsoft employees were like, or Xbox employees are like, I am so fed up with this losing battle. I'm going to tell someone who's going to say something in a public, on a tweet or a podcast. Oh, it sounds insane to say it out loud. I hate it. I think it's all ridiculous. Say something, Mag. I hate it. I hate it all. It's so dumb.
What, like everything that we're just talking about?
Yeah, there's this conspiracy that PlayStation's like, it's really easy.
You know what?
A small check, we can make Xbox look even smaller. We can suffocate them by one game. Like, why would you pay for one game from one small studio? It's an insane idea. It sounds so dumb.
They're all vying for power and position, and Microsoft being the second now, not the biggest, they're second. I think Nvidia overtook them in market value. But either way, they're the second biggest company on the planet. Boo friggin' who? Let's say they did. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that Sony did do something. If Sony has a foothold in the top position as market leader, do you think they're just going to give that up easily? Or do you think they're going to give that up clean? Or do you think they're just going to be like, Microsoft, $3 trillion Microsoft, you know what? We'll just back off.
We already know PlayStation and Sony are deathly afraid of Xbox. Not just Microsoft. We already know PlayStation is deathly afraid of Xbox as a brand.
And that's why they're not going to give up, and they're not going to stop, and they're not going to relent. They're not going to give mercy. They're not going to show mercy. They're going to keep coming and coming and coming. And that's why Microsoft and Xbox keep doing what they're doing, is because they're going to have to keep doing that. And they've been doing it for decades. And it's never going to end. And it's never going to stop. It's just going to be what it's going to be. And that's all there is to it. As all of us here on the ground level, and we're all on the ground level, okay? None of us are in those top offices.
Yeah.
Just worry about what you're going to play, where you're going to play it, and how you're going to access it if you really want to do it. Like if I want to play Black Myth Wukong, my PlayStation's behind me. I'll go play it there if I really want to. I have a backlog, so I'm not really worried about it right now. I'll probably get it on sale down the road. I'm not really worried about it. If there's something that's only available on Xbox, then go play it in the Xbox ecosystem. I'll say ecosystem because that includes PC, whatever else. Sure. We are consumers. I think well, seriously, we're consumers. All we need to do is concern ourselves whether you want to play it or not. This is something that's supposed to make us happy. This is something that brings us joy. It's a hobby. It's something that like I don't sit up at night with staring at the ceiling in the dark wondering if Sony secretly money-hatted Black Myth Wukong. I don't care. I'll play it on my PlayStation.
I mean, this is a real argument happening right now.
I'm watching it.
And it's so funny when we put it that way. It's like
the hot toy chick. I'm tired of it.
I'm so sick of it already. I'm so sick
on that thing. Woo!
Everyone's 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah, all right.
I was sick of it the moment I saw that meme. Oh my gosh. Well, I polled the audience, not about Hawktua, but about Black Myth Wukong. Is Black Myth Wukong being money-hatted by PlayStation? Almost 70% of you say yes. And you know what? I think it probably is too. And oh well. My issue is like, why did Meg and I are both saying, right? I think you're both in agreement. If they did, just hey, we want to support game science. We think they've got some real magic, and so we want them to focus on the PlayStation and PC, put out their game, and bring people over to our platform. Say it with your whole chest. But if they were really going to say, we don't have to say anything, here's a check, that's not illegal either.
Yeah, you know what? Here, the Arcane in the chat said exactly what I was just about to say. He said, "We don't even know if the game's good or if it's gonna be any good. Let's just see what happens first. Maybe the game's a banger, and I won't be able to turn my back to it. I'll be like, you know what? This game looks really hot.
It's gonna be an 8. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be an 8, and that's really, really good.
That's great. And Stellar Blade, when I first saw Stellar Blade, I'm like, all right, that looks interesting or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was PlayStation only. I'm like, all right, maybe. And then I played the demo and I was like, yo, this game is hot. And I don't mean the chick. I mean the game itself is hot. It was good. I really enjoyed the game. So I was like, all right, well, wow. So this might be the same kind of thing. If it's mediocre, if it's I hate to say that, I hate to see the term mediocre and use a number like 7, but if it's like a 6.5 or a 7 or 7.5, sure. That's the kind of thing I'll wait till it's $25. And then by the time it's $25, it'll probably be available everywhere.
Hey, man.
Where you can probably buy it on Xbox, on PlayStation, whatever. PC.
Yeah. When we say 7, though, context matters. Like if it's something everyone's hyping the heck out of, or they're making a big hairy deal about exclusivity and it comes into 7, then you kind of go, was it really worth all the fuss?
Right. That's like Grand Theft Auto 6 coming in at a 7. Like the entire world would be disappointed beyond words.
I'd cry.
Right?
I'd cry.
So,
it's the best 7 I've ever played.
Right, so can you imagine what people's reactions would be if a game was getting a 7 across the board? That people would freak out. It has to be a 9 or above, to be newsworthy.
Boy, that would
right?
suck.
Well, actually, no, 7 would be. Oh my God, I would hate that. But hey, it is what it is, man. They did it to themselves too. No one told you to take 12 years to make a new game, okay? No one told you to do that. You could have released one in 2018. 5 years is sufficient. I mean, Jesus Christ, they released Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and what's the other one there?
San Andreas.
Boys in the Hood one. San Andreas. San Andreas. It is. It was a play on.
Yeah, Menace Society and Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, yeah. They released those 3 in a matter of, 4 years? Holy mackerel, guys.
I think it's 01 for 3, 02 for Vice City, and 03 for San Andreas, if I remember. Yeah, a year apart. There you go. What happened to those days? Speaking of the platform Xbox, the no Xbox was trending last week because I really don't give a flying fudgesicle about Marvel versus Capcom, another 16-bit reimagining or remaster of a game that still looks like it's 16-bit. Yeah. I was at the arcade yesterday with my kid, and they had the TMNT arcade, the 1989 Turtles game, the beat 'em up 4-player with the 16 or 32-bit or whatever those graphics, those arcade cabinets were. And I look at it, I go, man, the magic of that. I remember seeing Ninja Turtles at a Fred Meyer lobby in Vancouver, Washington with my friend, where we go ride our bike there and hang out. And we went into a Fred Meyer lobby and they had that Turtles thing with the 4-player. I remember looking at those visuals going, oh man, that looks so much like the real cartoon. It's 2024. I don't need to see Marvel versus Capcom. It's already been on the Xbox, but it's completely missing. Jez Corden reported about the MT framework, which I didn't even bother looking up. I'm sure Pushing Polygons in the chat would know all about it. Will send me 9 messages about it because I don't know. He likes to teach me all this crap that I don't understand because I'm not smart enough like he is. He's amazing. Go check out his channel, Pushing Polygons. He covers retro stuff, so it's right up his alley. I don't know why they're skipping the Xbox console, and I don't know why Xbox is sitting there knowing all their fans are crying about these games that aren't coming to the platform. And Marvel vs. Capcom Collection is a pretty cool package, but why the fudge? Why the fudge and creamsicle French fry potato pie? Is this delightful game? The what? Who?
I said that sounded delightful. No, I was all for it.
Have you tried the lasagna? It's my favorite.
Yeah. Anyways, carry on.
Right now, Meg's like whipping that up right now.
Yeah.
Why? Why is Xbox not going as soon as they should be? I'm so sick of Xbox being so reactive instead of being proactive. You know these games are in the work. All these people are your partners. You got a Square Enix game that I don't care about. It's called Romance Saga. I'll never play it. But Phil just shook hands with a guy last year, and the game's missing. So I don't understand why Xbox isn't proactive. You know who your partners are. You know these games are coming in the pipeline. You know all these games have to be vetted through your process, and you haven't got in front of this? Hey, Jimmy, Marvel vs. Capcom's going to miss Xbox because they're having problems with something. Well, let's go fix that because they need more games than ever. I don't know. Meg, am I overreacting?
No. And I'll tell you something. It's not for me, and I've seen a few podcasts talking about this exact subject and whatever. And of course made it, news articles and all that. And that's where it struck me, where the importance of this situation is not, this is where people lose focus. They're like, who cares about a 20-year-old game? It's not, do you guys not see in front of your own friggin' faces? It's not the game that's the problem. It's that public perception when you see the headlines that splash, Xbox is not getting another set of games or whatever, right? Or you look on YouTube and you see every second, especially depending on your algorithm and whatever else, and you see, and a lot of it are video game whatevers and this and that, and then you see the Angry Joes and the this and the that,
and you see the thumbnail like this.
Yeah, and then you get those guys who have 3 million, 4 million, 5 million subs, right?
Yeah.
You get all those guys, and they're all talking about Xbox not getting another set of games or whatever, this and that. That's what's important. It's not the game that's important. I got Marvel vs. Capcom right back there. Look, it's in the berry bag. It's my Capcom machine back there. I got 18 Capcom games on it.
Oh, so
right?
cool.
I got it right over there. Hey, whatever, man. I can play Marvel vs. Capcom, no problem.
Hold on. Pause.
Sure.
Is it just, shout out to 600 people here checking out a show on a random Monday. We appreciate you. Hit the like button. I know all of you watching, you care about this. We care about when games are missing. But I got to ask, Meg, does the rest of the world care, or are we just this magnified bubble?
No, it's just a smaller subsect of the gaming community that's
or does it pour over to the general
do
public,
what we do.
like you're saying? Because you're making I don't want to interrupt you because you're making a really good point. You're saying the public perception of all these headlines.
That's
do you think it pours over to the everyday gamer? Xbox.
Oh, yes, it does.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, no, 100% it does. I know as a fact because I speak to a ton of casual gamers and people who are just not involved in the YouTube world and in the Twitter world and in the Rumble world and the whatever else, right? And all the social medias. There are tons of people that I speak to out there, and they all say the same thing. They're like, oh, well, when you mention Xbox, they go, really? Is that thing even still alive? Or whatever. People make snide comments like that because
probably.
What they see these bigger YouTubers, they see articles or whatever else, and even if it's just you see something casual or people start talking about it, that's where it all comes into play because that's where you get the reputation. And that's where it all boils down to. It's not the game itself that's the problem. It's way beyond that, where people look and all they see is Xbox attached to negative news. regardless of what that news is. When you see the name Xbox and then in the same sentence, negative whatever, that's what people keep seeing over and over and over and over. They just came off an incredible showcase.
Yeah,
right?
They got a week of happiness.
They had a week. Give them 4 days. You know what I mean? 4 days,
Yeah.
and then it starts again. But the thing is, that's what it's all about. It's not about anything else. It's not about what about that specific game, a 16-bit fighting game that you could probably play anywhere else. Like I said, you could buy them.
Probably get it on your phone with an app, an emulator app. Absolutely.
I wouldn't even.
Well,
I wouldn't
let me
even be
ask you
surprised.
something.
But again, it's Xbox equals negative news equals it gets into the zeitgeist of the general public, and that's a problem.
TJ Laser says you guys contribute to the negativity. Meg and I
we don't.
No, we don't. Absolutely not.
No, we don't.
I feel like
because you know what? Go ahead.
No, look at us. Like we don't look like the voice of reason, but I sure as heck try to like. Somebody said, "Let me take a sidebar." Somebody said that of course Jeff Keighley snubbed me. Like I've done nothing but trash him. I've done nothing but tell people to stop trashing Keighley because I think he does a great service for the video game industry. And
if he wasn't doing it, nobody else was.
Absolutely. And I've always respected him. So I thought it was funny that he was petty and I got ticked off about that. But where was I? Negativity.
We were
no,
talking about negativity.
We don't spread negativity. And hey,
the problem is people get pissed off. Yep. Go ahead.
You and I sat here during the early parts of the year and put cold water over the outrage over Xbox putting some of their games on PlayStation. Didn't we? Didn't we? Sorry, go ahead.
I didn't.
You told people to get mad?
I told people to get mad.
Who even are you?
The thing is, in all seriousness, when I see people say that, I don't take that stuff too personally. But at the same time, I do realize that I think some people, if I don't say exactly what they want to hear, then I'm being negative, or I'm a doom and gloomer, or I'm a this and that, or whatever else. And I'm like, what's doom and gloom about the fact that every time you look, I mean, go look yourself.
Yeah.
Go on YouTube right now and start looking down and see how many times you saw that title in other podcasts. And I'm not talking about Xbox podcasts. I'm talking about the bigger guys.
Which title?
Like the big mainstream guys. Just look for Xbox not getting games or whatever. Another set of I saw dozens of them. I'm not making this stuff up. So how does that make me negative if I'm literally just pointing out what's actually happening? What it boils down to is echo chambers. People love to sit in their same old circle jerk and just listen to the same crap over and over and over. And then if you say something outside of that circle, well, then you're a doom and gloomer. You're a this, you're a pony, you're a that. And I'm like, no, I'm just pointing out the obvious. If you can't see that, that's a you problem. But like I said, go out there and see that, and that's what's happening. And when you brought up this thing, specifically this subject about this Marvel vs. Capcom thing, and I looked at it and I'm like, it's not the game that's the problem. People are not looking at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is, once again, 1 week after a wonderful showcase where they showed a lot of great stuff and a lot of great promise, and people are like, oh, wow, that was awesome. That was awesome. Yay, Xbox. That was great. And then all of a sudden you look a week later and you see these articles, but very few people were mentioning the Marvel versus Capcom. The headlines were Xbox not getting games again or whatever, right? And then it shows the thumbnails of this. You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. That's what it all boils down to. People don't want to see that truth. Well, go ahead.
Well, we don't do that content here. I don't make
do
an
that.
8-minute video about how Xbox, is doomed because they're missing a handful of small games this year. But
it just doesn't help the bigger picture.
Yeah.
When you see that stuff. That's what I'm talking about. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying Xbox has to do anything about that specifically. I'm just saying it's that negative connotation keeps coming back, and it keeps coming back. Maybe because it sells clicks. I don't know. Like maybe they get more clicks from it or more engagement. It's like, when you smack talk Disney, engagement goes through the roof because everybody's
Xbox
like, well,
is an easy target. It's easy content to make fun of their shortcomings. And And I also agree that it's easy fare or easy target to talk about the great things that are on the Xbox platform. Like there's surprisingly really great reasons to play on this platform. And it's a lot of the content I do because it's exciting to talk about stuff that you can say, hey, is that going to be cool? And
in 3 weeks, I'm playing Flintlock on Game Pass essentially for free, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
I'm excited to play that, and I'll be playing that day one on Game Pass because it's there for me. And I'm like, yay.
That's a full price game, I think. That
I think so. I have no idea. Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is. I'm going to be there playing it day one. So there's positives there. There's positives in the fall. If you're not buying Call of Duty elsewhere, then you can play it right there, right? And then the other games, you got Indie, and then you got Avowed and whatever else, and then Shattered Space and all that. So like, there's all kinds of stuff. So like, those are all positive things. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about that stuff, and we're not ignoring that stuff. What we are talking about is that when you see those things and we see these articles and this specific subject, something small, it's it's from a molehill into a mountain.
Let me say something, and I'm gonna get a little bit sappy for a moment, guys. And shout out to over 600 of you. Meg and I feel really, really super grateful that we have a platform where a few hundred of you will come and talk with us about gaming. And because we have a small audience that is listening or can be spread around, or maybe somebody at Xbox happens upon part of the stream and wants to hear what everyone's talking about in the chat or what Mag and I are saying. And that happens from time to time. So we're super, super grateful we have this opportunity. And what I like to do, and what Mag and I like to do on the show, is have a discussion about the logic part of it, the reasoning, or the good and the bad, and what could be, right? And all of you are here. We're really super thankful that you're here, because if we have a small audience, we have the opportunity to say, Xbox needs to make an improvement here, or Xbox needs to be more proactive about this problem, like games skipping their platform. And that will, fortunately, that will go a little further than someone with 36 followers who says, hey, Xbox, you need to fix this. It's really tough to get your voice to move and move and move. So we do take advantage of that opportunity to say, hey, these things need to be remedied. And thank you all for being here so that we can do that every week. It means a lot to us because we like to contribute somehow and have fun with you guys in the chat, even though you're all lollygaggers just like us. But we appreciate it. One of the other things that I wanted to say, Mag, was that Kareem Jovian has a pretty large audience, and he stepped up and said, Xbox, you got to do something about that. I'm going to start one of those sign up things. What do they call those things? The change.org thing to bring Marvel's vs. Capcom to Xbox. I don't know how much that does. Those usually don't do anything, right?
That's not going to do anything. And then, the thing is, I don't think the audience is that big.
That needs
like I said, I don't think that the game is what's important here.
Yeah.
The game is not what's important. It's those articles out there and those YouTube videos that are bringing that perception back. That is what the problem is, not the game itself. How many people were clamoring for Marvel vs. Capcom? Was anybody talking about it until they revealed it? No. So it was kind of just,
it's been weaponized.
It's left as part of, exactly. It's been weaponized. It's been left as part of history at this point. I have history because I have a arcade behind me. That's different because I celebrate the past and whatever else, and celebrate the past, present, and future of gaming. So that's a whole different thing. But that's not what it was weaponized after it came out, and then it turned into a situation. So that's not. I don't think anybody was really clamoring for it, and doing the change.org, I don't think was going to really do anything about it either.
They usually don't. But when you said that,
yeah,
there was a lot of fans who were like, I don't need Marvel's Capcom. Here's the roadmap. And they put up a graphic of all these games Xbox just announced the week before. And that's not the right approach either. Like, excusing or allowing this stuff to happen without stepping up and saying, hey, this isn't right. Like, these are multi-platform games. The previous ones have been on Xbox consoles for decades.
Right.
Like, that is not the right approach. And that's why I give the speech. And thank you. I was watching you guys in the chat while Meg and I were talking. That's why I give the speech that, hey, if we can rally together and say, hey, can you fix this? And somebody says to somebody who says to somebody, and then somebody whispers it as Sarah Bond's walking by, and she's like, crap, they really are upset. We need to do something about it. then at least we tried. I guess that's what I want to say. Let me grab a couple supers here. There's just a couple in.
Sure. While you're doing that, I shall return shortly.
Okay. Shout out to Steven Smith, who says Colton Mag's backdrops are incredible. He said, give him a shout out. Thank you so much. Mag's worked hard to get all the arcades. I've got calluses on my fingers from playing those guitars. Somebody in the chat says, why do I keep the straps? Why do I need the straps on them? Yeah, I mean, I could actually hook one down on accident, but I mean, I play them. And sometimes you got to play standing up, or you become a bedroom player and you'll never make it to the arenas someday, which I'm trying to do. One of these days, I'll be a famous rock star. It's just one of these days, I'll finally make it. And you guys will all love me. Appreciate you. Danny Passion Official, thank you for the 2, says, did Sony say anything about Stellar Blade or Final Fantasy VII? No, I think that's what Mag was talking about. They don't really have to say anything. They puffed out their chests, they paid the money, and they just if you don't have a PlayStation, you suffer. Stellar Blade still hasn't made it to PC either. So yeah, they're just like, hey, you want gaming, you got to buy a PlayStation, and our paycheck makes it happen. Most of their stuff's money-hatted. If you look at some of their biggest and brightest, or the majority of their games, they have all been money-hatted. Xbox as well, in the 360 era, most money-hatted. So none of these guys are safe. Spartan661, thank you for the $5 super, says, who cares if Sony money-hatted that game? The backlog you're going to get when the Activision games go to Game Pass will draw that game, will drone that game out. Calm down. Yeah, I yelled. I'm kind of with Mag. I don't really care about Marvel's vs. Capcom. I care about the principle of it. And I'm tired of these little games that I might be interested in, and lots of people might be interested in, just completely missing. Xbox needs to do something about that because the console, they're really struggling as it is. Boner Jams, thank you so much for the 5. Just in time for Mag to come back. Says, evening to the hottest duo on Brazzers. I mean YouTube. Have a great weekend.
I'm on Brazzers as well. I'm on Brazzers as well.
I want to talk at the end of the show about some of the moves you're going to be making. We'll do a little hype-a-thon for that, Mag.
Sure.
At the end of the show. He says, Colt Winwood and the icon, the Mag. Appreciate you. The Casual Noob Gamer, thank you for the $5 super ass. I feel Black Myth and other companies want Xbox money to solve their problems because Xbox has a history of paying out where Nintendo and Sony are more frugal. Now, I didn't bring this up because I forgot about it, and I'm not sure if I believe it, but the Casual Noob Gamer is like, what if Black Myth Wukong was like, we need more, it's taking us longer, and if you want the game on day one like everyone else, you need to pay us some extra money because we need more time to work with your process. That's more believable than...
That's possible, yeah, sure. I could see that.
I don't know.
Like I said, I really don't know what the answer is. I know we talked about it earlier, and at the end of the day, all I know is that it's coming out in the end of August. If it's like an absolutely fire game, I will not be able to skip it. If not, then I'll just wait down the road. I don't really care where I play it.
Yeah.
Unless, I game share with my wife on the PlayStation. If she wants it, then I'll buy it there. If not, I'll just buy it on Xbox. I don't really care. Like, you know what I mean? At some point, I'll get around to it. But I got so many games to go through, and I'm going through a lot of. No, I can't say retro games, but I'll say older games. I'm playing games from 10 years ago, and like I'm going to be
4 years
going
old
back.
Is retro at this point, huh? With like Dying Light.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I know. But like Dying Light 2 is just a phenomenal game. So yeah, I'm going through all those, man. I mean, I bought them. I ain't gonna, and everything else I wish list, right? So I don't forget about them.
Let me ask you about Dying Light, and I asked you last week because I really like the game.
Sure.
How are you doing with your free running? Like, are you like really hustling?
Much better now, yeah, because you can upgrade things, and you can, you go to the upgrade section, and you could like upgrade like the volleys and the this and that, and like you press your hands, and then you could kick over obstacles better and faster. I could jump down, or I could fall from higher distances now. And then they even added another thing where I could even go like almost double that height. And then at the very end, you just press the button, and then all of a sudden he does a roll.
Like a B.
So you don't
hit B. So I was going to ask you about.
Love it.
The new Perfect Dark has a identical free running system. Like, how are you feeling about the new Perfect Dark? Knowing that
I actually I think about Perfect Dark every time I play Dying Light 2 because all I can think to myself is if Perfect Dark can get the Dying Light 2 parkour down, you got a game. You got a game on your hand. Even if they speed it up just a little bit, but I mean, I get what they do. Like even with like Techland's
I think they might
really
slow it down. Is what my fear is.
You think
it might
slow it down?
Because in Dying Light 2, like you can really get booking across and jump and you have this bigger map. And I don't expect Perfect Dark to be bigger, but I get excited when I think about free running, climbing the pipes really fast, and sliding
I'm thinking
into
Mirror's Edge. I'm thinking Mirror's Edge speed because Mirror's Edge speed is maybe realistic. It's just me or maybe my memory's a little off, but I thought it was a little faster than Dying Light.
Oh yeah.
Because it was more like some of those sequences were more arcadian in a way.
And you could make really terrible jumps in Mirror's Edge. I'm not sure which one's faster. Let us know, chat, if you remember. I played a little bit of Mirror's Edge when that rumor came out that was in Perfect Dark for a video. So,
isn't Mirror's Edge and Mirror's Edge 2, aren't they both on Game Pass?
They are. And they're both 60 frames, I think.
Yeah, so yeah, I may consider going back and just dabbling in one or two of those and give it a shot. You know what I mean? But I'm getting my fix right now. So I mean, like I said, Dying Light 2 is a fantastic game, and Techland, they are relentless when it comes to support of their games. I mean, they'll be supporting Dying Light 2 for another 5 years. Like the game came out 2 years ago. They're releasing events like crazy right now.
They were releasing stuff for Dying Light 1.
Yes, up until like 2 years ago. Yeah.
It's awesome. I'm glad you're loving it. And you loved Dead Island 2, which makes you my best friend.
Dying Light, yeah, it was great. I love Dying Light.
Isn't
Dead
it cool that
fantastic.
A game like Dying Light 2 or Dead Island 2, which aren't supposed to be like the best games that year, can be so enjoyable? It makes me really excited about Avowed, which when people look at it first, they're like, ooh, brother, ooh. You know how they are? They're like, oh, it's not cutting edge graphics. And
what is that? Yeah. Brother, I could have done without some of the neon because it kind of gave me that Batman and Robin vibe from the Joel Schumacher days. But
on which game?
On Avowed.
Oh,
that's some of the like a little bit too much neon, and I'm like,
there's bioluminescent plants.
And
stuff.
Yeah. I'm just messing around. But like, listen, at the end of the day, I said it before. I said when I watched it, I'm like, okay, it is what it is. I'm like, it's not like I'm not going to download it and play it. So I'm going to download it, give it a good old college try, and I'll see. You never know. It might grab me and just be like, I got you now, and I might put in 50 hours into it or 60 hours.
I've got an update about that too that I want to talk about.
Tell me about it. Talk about it.
I will in a second here. Let's see where we at. Albino Omen. Thank you for Canadian 5 says, how's it going, Colton Mag? Bit of a segue. Evening. I get this question every podcast. After we put the podcast on demand, or every video, I get I would say 3 or 4 comments on this. Albino says, just wondering whatever happened to Dealer. So I don't often talk to Dealer, and I feel like I could just say I already covered this, but people ask it so much that there must be so many of you who are new here. If you want to hear what happened to Dealer, hit the like button. No, I'm just kidding. No, we appreciate you guys.
I'll tell you what happened to Dealer for free.
Okay. I haven't talked to Mag about Dealer, and you know what, Mag, remind me after the show. We'll have a short conversation about it. But Dealer moved across state, where he used to live, like back when I first met him. I've been friends with Dealer for almost 7 years, and so he moved, and then all of his stuff was in disarray. So he said he wasn't going to be making content for a little bit until he got things in order, and then he messages Fonz and says, I am out touching grass. I'm loving life. I'm good. I don't know. I just think I loved his content. He made some of the best technical and video game news videos that you could just sit and enjoy. And he was funny, and he was always like, but he's not doing that stuff right now. So everybody asked me what happened to Dealer. I don't know, other than he's not even mentioning content right now because he's really happy. And I'm just going to speak for myself for a moment, because remember how I said I'm really grateful you guys are all here. sometimes being a content creator, it can be personally stressful because sometimes I'm like, oh, is anybody going to watch my show? Does anybody like my stuff? Oh, it's such a dumb thing. But, and when the video game news gets kind of icky, like there's a lot of studio layoffs, like dealers stopped making content at the most opportune time where he missed out on the multi-platform rumors and all the studio layoffs and the downturn. And I don't even ask him about this stuff because he's just taking a break. So yeah, he'll be back one of these days. He's doing great. People give rumors that something really bad happened. I could tell you something bad didn't happen. He's doing good, but we'll talk about it after the show. But
no,
yes,
that's not,
as far as I know, he's doing great, but Mag will make up something and here he goes.
Everything that Colt said was a complete lie. Colt, a dealer has been tied up in my basement for months. And hold on a second. What's that? Yeah, he said, Tim Dog.
I love Tim so much.
It puts the lotion on or it gets the hose again, dealer. I told you that already. Anyway, let's carry on.
And he's still playing games every day and all that stuff. But shout out to Tim Dog, a good friend of mine. We almost got in a public scuffle and we got on the phone and we're like, bro, I love the guy. It's just video games, guys. Like we make fun of stuff once in a while, but we do love each other.
Hey, Colt, yeah. check Brandon Martin. He said that we missed his super chat.
Oh yeah. Hold on.
Do you see it? We purposely missed it. Man, we just wanted to see if you were. We just wanted to see if you were on your toes.
Hold on. I don't see it. Let me look in my special bag of tricks. Hey, look, we're live. Hold on a second, Brandon. Give me a second.
Is
Did I just
code
click the wrong thing?
Narcotics. Just so you know.
Hold on. It's right here.
Yep.
It should be right here. So there's a back way to like check everything that's come in. Brandon, there it is. Thank you, Brandon Martin, for the $2 super chat, and thank you for being patient while I found it. Brandon says, I think exclusives are becoming super toxic. Mag.
Whoa, say that again. Say that again.
Brandon says, I think exclusives are becoming super toxic.
I think that's okay. I'm just gonna say it. I actually think that it's because I think what Xbox is doing or what they're going to be doing in the near future and into the far future, I think that has gotten people in such a tizzy, or at least even just the thought of it has got people in such a tizzy that it's got people at war about whether exclusives are going to be good or not. And I heard that somebody mentioned that back in February. A couple of prominent YouTubers were saying, just watch now. Once those rumors first started coming out or whatever, and of course now they're starting to come to fruition slowly but surely. It says, watch how the Xbox community is going to weaponize, or not Xbox community, excuse me, not Xbox community. The Xbox brass are going to weaponize and start downplaying exclusivity as a good thing.
Okay.
Right? They're gonna. It says, watch them do that. And these were big YouTubers. Like big YouTubers in the millions. And they said, watch that's exactly what the Xbox brass are going to do. Sorry, I didn't mean the community. I totally screwed that up. He said the Xbox brass are going to start demonizing exclusivity because that's not what they're doing. Right?
And then what did Phil say at the IGN Live?
And then what's happening is it's slowly but surely being drip fed, just like aliens, slowly being drip fed to the people, and it's getting into the zeitgeist and the people's minds, and it's poisoning their brains, and then people start fighting about it now. If I went back 2 years ago and started saying that people would be arguing about exclusivity and all that stuff, you'd say I'm nuts. People say I'm nuts now, but I'm saying that you'd say I'm extra nuts just for even thinking that. And I said, well, fast forward now and look at people now, and they're doing exactly what that YouTuber said. They've been slow drip feeding people that exclusivity is not a good thing and this and that, whatever, and everybody should be everywhere. And then even Sean, they take that quote from Sean Layden completely out of context. There should be only one console.
Do you know what Sean Layden said? That was on our topic list. It'd be a perfect time for you to dive into that.
Damn it! I don't have it on me now, but I remember reading it. It was totally taken out of context.
I have the quote, but there was more of it. Give me your best. Here on the XC podcast, we like to just fly by the seat of our pants when the topic arises.
He was talking about the how do I phrase this? You caught me off guard here. I didn't even think of it. The plausibility of like having games that are upwards of 200 million, 250 million, 300 million dollars to make. And now what you end up doing is you're talking about the feasibility of just locking it behind one console, because then if that player base is not there, then what happens is it's very difficult to make that return on investment. So that's what he was talking about in regards to that. He says that, it should be open up more. What they didn't really clarify is that he wasn't talking about Xbox and PlayStation. He was talking about the PC market and opening it up to the PC market and things like that or whatever else. And that's basically what it boiled down to. And that's exactly what we got. Xbox did it first. And then PlayStation did it second. They're doing it now because they didn't have to do it as quickly as Xbox did. Xbox made that move to PC a lot quicker than PlayStation did because they were not in a position of authority at that point. They still aren't. But they're in a better position now than they were back, if you look back at the Xbox One generation, that's when it started. And then they started moving it off over there, so they had to expand the market. Then Sean Layden was talking about how those PlayStation games, especially the back half of PS4, those games were really, really expensive going into the PS5 as well.
They still are,
They still are. And actually, they're getting even more expensive because, again, developers are pricing themselves out of a job. Right? So, I mean, they're tolerating it for now, but not for very much longer. You watch and see. And so, anyways, the point is that he was saying we got to open it up to a larger market. And that's, of course, where Jim Ryan was talking about that, all that kind of stuff as well. And then it got into that. He was talking about the PC market. He was nowhere in there was he saying, we need to have one console so everybody could just play on one androgynous console and whatever else. It's never going to happen. It's not going to happen ever, not ever, not know how, not know where. Sorry, I'm trying to be like the Guardian from Wizard of Oz. Not know where, not know how. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, shoot, there's a lot to cover there.
Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo will always be releasing their own products.
Okay. And that's going to feed into what we talk about with Matt Booty. And Risk It for the Biscuit sends in a super chat that I got to cover right now. He says,
God, what does he want, man?
He says, with a $7,000 super chat, he goes, Colt, will you please ask Mag to be nice to me? He hurts my feelings on the daily. And I can't. I'm just kidding.
All you're getting are crickets from me, Risk It for the Biscuit. I'm not going to be. Of course, I'm going to be nice. So I'm going to love him. He's a great. We
love Risk It. Risk It's a good friend. He says, and he said he wanted me to attach this to the rest of what he said, so I'm going to try and get this right. If executives downplay the value of exclusivity, if they do, will you push back? Okay, I got it, Risk It. Okay, I'm reading that for the first time. He's saying that, based on what you were saying, Mag, that if executives downplay the value of exclusivity, will I push back? Because Risk It said he will push back on exclusivity. Yeah, so this is a tough one because Risk It probably thinks I don't push back enough on exclusivity. And I don't for a couple of reasons. Because, number one, I'm not going to be able to change when the financials say, putting our games elsewhere makes us this much money. Trying to push just Game Pass and the console makes us this much money. Here, I'll do the, what's his name? The X-Fault thing.
Yeah.
So, and we've said that many times on the show that if putting a few games on PlayStation puts them here in revenue and profit, and holding on to exclusivity puts them here, you're never going to win this side of the chart. I hate doing the hand gestures now. I absolutely hate it. Now it's the worst thing ever. Yes, I would push back because, all right, it's time for a small speech. My stance, Mag, is that you need some form of express exclusivity if you plan to grow your platform in a meaningful way, especially when you've got Game Pass on the line, where Game Pass has become almost more important than the console. So if Xbox tells the world, you want to play Indiana Jones? Just wait 3 months after launch in December. It's coming to PlayStation. No one will jump off of PlayStation and go play it on Game Pass on PC or console. They won't. They'll just wait. I shouldn't say no one, but most people just don't really wait. I don't know. What do I know? My stance is they need to. Here's my thing. Sometimes I feel like an idiot when I'm taking too much time to make a statement, but please bear with me as my microphone gets crazy here. Xbox needs to set an expectation of where their games will be so that they can tell the world, like we talked about earlier in the show, that the principle and the optics of games missing the Xbox, the optics need to be, if you want all these great games we just showed you, you have to be with us first. You have to either be on Xbox console, on cloud, or on PC or on Game Pass. You want Doom? You want Doom, the Dark Ages? You have to be with Xbox first. There's no reason for them to put the ninth Doom game, whatever it is at this point. It does not have to be on a PlayStation. PlayStation would never do that. But like I said, the financials say otherwise. And that's what bothers me. So Xbox needs to set some sort of expectation. If they're our franchises that we've owned, they are going to be on Xbox for a while. And I think they need to say, case by case basis. No, that doesn't work. We don't know if it's 3 months. We don't know if it's 6 months. We don't know if it's 2 years or 5 years. Just like PlayStation doesn't know what's coming to PC. But Xbox needs to set, and yes, Riskin, I'm sorry. Let me end my answer saying, I will have some pushback, but there's only so much you can do when these decisions are financially driven and you can't win against money. Mag, your thoughts? I need a break.
The thing at the end of the day is that when you say, which we talked about it before, we talked about it in January, February, all the way up until now, we talked about how whenever there's going to be a showcase, whenever there's a game shown or this and that, there's always going to be an asterisk next to it saying, is it fill in the blank? Is it going to end up over here? Is it going to end up over there? How long is it going to be? How long is Doom, the Dark Ages, going to be on Xbox before it comes to PlayStation, whatever? Is it day one on PlayStation? And all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. And because of all those asterisks that are in every single one of these reveals and whatever else, as great as they are, there's going to be a lot of people out there that say this, well, I just got a PC. Why would I even bother with Xbox at all? And I could just buy an Xbox game if I want. I can have PC Game Pass if I want. Or you can even buy yourself just a PlayStation and just say, you know what? I can play PlayStation exclusives. I can play Xbox exclusives. And I can play third-party games. I'm not saying the Xbox exclusives day one. I'm just saying whenever they come. I'm leaving it open to interpretation as to the extent of time it would take to get over there, okay? And I could play third-party games over there. Why would I involve myself in any other business? And let's say they release 5 games on a Game Pass in the fall, and you're only interested in one. Why would you subscribe to Game Pass? Just buy it. Because by the time you buy it and you play it, whatever, what ends up happening is you pay $20 a month, $25 a month up here in Canada, right? All of a sudden, 2 months, you basically, 3 months, you basically paid for the game. And so some people say like, well, I'm not going to go through all the hassle of, getting into that ecosystem.
Putting my credit card and all that crap,
Subscribe to Game Pass, get into that ecosystem, still a paywall there at some point. You have to get some kind of access, at least if you want to play it on something decent. People could say, oh, well, you could just play it on a tablet. Who the hell wants to play a AAA game on a tablet?
A kid.
Like, give me a break. Like, a kid would, not me. I want to play it on the screen that I purchased, and so I could see people doing that. They'll say, "Well, I'll just buy Indiana Jones on PlayStation whenever," and so that's a dangerous precedent because what you're doing now is you're trying to drive more people to Game Pass, which I think is going to work. But I mean, it's been working very slowly. It hasn't been working the way that they wanted. They've openly said that. Now, as a result of that, I think it's a dangerous precedent that's a set because then what ends up happening is people will just sit back and they're now being conditioned for something else. So now I've heard the narrative out there that Xbox gamers have been conditioned to wait for Game Pass. So they're not. The narrative out there is that they're not buying games. Right? They're not buying games because they're conditioned to wait for Game Pass. Now the new narrative is going to be PlayStation gamers are being basically
patient,
patient, and they're basically sort of being groomed into just waiting for it to show up on the PlayStation ecosystem.
Mag's not wrong. Mag's not wrong, because some of my favorite games have come to Game Pass a year later that I bought, like Guardians of the Galaxy,
Dead Island 2, Guardians of the Galaxy.
A whole
I bought
bunch
them
of
at
games.
full price. I bought those full price on Xbox, and then all of a sudden they're like, next month we have Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'm like, you know what
why
I mean?
wouldn't you be conditioned to wait when some of these cool games do make it?
Right, and I spent $85 on it, and I was just like, Everborn Saga, shout out to Everborn Saga. We call it the Everborn curse, that when he buys a game, like a week later, they announce it for Game Pass.
I remember that.
Yeah, so it's so funny because in the Primetime Gaming chat, which I'm still part of, he'll send a picture of a game he just bought, and he goes, the Everborn curse is live and in effect. He goes, this game should be coming to Game Pass next week. And we're like, thanks, Everborn, good job. Or else, just to be a jackass, we'll message him on the PTG crowd, and we're like, dude, can you go and buy this game so that we can get it on Game Pass like 8 days later, please? Thank you. Anyway, so people are being conditioned to do that on that side. Then all of a sudden, if all of this comes to fruition, all the stuff that we've been talking about, then the PlayStation gamers are going to be preconditioned to not buy into the Xbox ecosystem, because they're going to sit back like PC gamers have been doing for forever, and we'll just wait. How many PC gamers have you talked to that say, I'll wait for it to come to PC?
Oh, they're all saying they'll just sit and wait for PlayStation to bend the knee and put the game on Steam.
Like Red Dead Redemption, Grand Theft Auto, all those games.
That's going to be a tough one for those guys to wait on. Like,
but dude, there are people that got some discipline out there. They will wait, and there's some that'll wait for a Steam sale when it shows up for like -3 cents, and then they'll buy it in the summer sale.
Though, like when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes to PC, everyone will be talking about it again. But that initial launch on consoles, it's going to be really tough to not.
Dude, it's going to be almost impossible.
Yeah.
It's going to be almost. But you know what? At the same time, I'm starting to wonder if some of those guys are just talk. You know what I mean? It's just like, just wait for peace.
Well, you and I would probably agree that they'll wait out on most games, but something like if an Elden Ring didn't come to PC or day and date, and something like Grand Theft Auto 6, like they're not going to wait. Just like the boycott, right?
The boycott. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, that's to get back on topic there about what you were talking about with Risk It and everything else. I think that I agree with that. I think that's. I'm not sure. I mean, they're making all the money, not me. But I'm not 100% sure that this is like for the Xbox brand.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a positive thing for the Xbox brand. I'm not talking about Microsoft. I'm not talking about Bethesda, and I'm not talking about Activision. I'm not talking about the game studios that they have. I'm talking about the Xbox brand, that if you've spread yourself out all over there and you could get those games in, eventually in all these different areas and categories or whatever, I think that the Xbox brand specifically is the one that's going to be diminished. Not the titles, not the games, not the studios, and certainly not Microsoft.
Well, the console brand, but my issue is that
console brand, yes.
That if Xbox, if their exclusivity could deteriorate away Game Pass, like when I say you need to grow the Game Pass platform, I don't care about how much money they make. Like people say, hey, Cole, how is this sustainable? How much money are they making on Game Pass? I'm like, that's not my problem. I don't care how much money they're making. They said they're making $3 billion in revenue. That's not my problem. My problem is if one day they're like, Game Pass just isn't making it anymore. Well, we're not in that situation. They've hardly had any games, and they're still sustainable. They were sustainable before they had any big games coming. So it's only going to get better. I just don't want Game Pass to leave someday because I like it. But as an Xbox fan and as an Xbox fanboy, what am I really missing out on if these games start coming to PlayStation just after launch or some day and date?
You're not missing anything because you're still going to get access to it on the ecosystem that you're already in.
Even better access.
But what I'm saying is if it becomes available in all these other places, what is giving anybody any incentive to come to your house for the party? when they could just have the party in their own house.
Yeah, that's true.
That would be, that's what I'm talking about. So what I'm getting at is like dude sitting on his couch and he's got a couple friends over, and then other dude across the street calls and goes, "Yo, come on over here. I'm having like 4 or 5 goes." I'm like, well, I have the same thing over here. So why am I going to get up and go over there when I could just do it right here? So that's what I'm talking about. And so like, listen, it's going to be a very interesting 3 years.
Yeah.
It's very interesting 3 years.
It's
what I'm saying?
It's like you've got the pool and the barbecue going, and on the other side of the fence is me. And I'm like, hey, I got the sprinklers on. If you guys want to come over and have hot dogs and run through my sprinklers? And Meg's got all the hot women and all the cool people in the neighborhood with the swimming pool and
that is 100% true. No, in all seriousness though, but it's like, I'm like, well, I got stuff going on over here. I'm fine. I'll come over another time when I don't have stuff going on. But like, the thing is, I worry about that. And I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I worry about that because I don't want to see the Xbox brand, specifically the brand, to go anywhere. Right? Because you need the brand. I talked about, by the way, I did a little guest spot on Boom's show the other night, last week on Primetime Gaming. I just did about 40 minutes because I was just kind of passing through and I had to get back to work. I had some work to do. However, I did talk about it because he showed on the screen, by the way, go sub to Double Barrel Gaming, please, Mr. Boomstick XL, good friend of mine. Anyways, he showed the graph of the IGN, where it had like all the different the grades,
shows,
the summer game showcase, the Xbox showcase, the Nintendo Direct, and the PlayStation State of Play. And I pointed out all the what the differences were, and you see where it showed that the PlayStation got a D- or whatever the hell it was, right? D or below, right? And I pointed to that when I said, "You see what that is, Boom?" I go, "You see what that is? That is what happens when Xbox doesn't provide enough competition for PlayStation." They sat on their hands and they just gave away a crap show. Then all of a sudden the showcase came out, and then Xbox got an A.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And it was overwhelmingly an A across the board. Everybody, even a lot of the PlayStation guys out there, were all like, "Wow, that was a great show," or whatever. Right. And some of them are still talking about it, and they're like, we can't deny that was a great show." So that is what happens. Now, I said, you know what's going to be great about that? Both camps are going to be in a great position. Why? A, because Xbox had a great show, so those Xbox gamers are going to be fine. But guess what? The PlayStation gamers are going to be in a great position in about a year from now. You know why? Because they just got their ass stomped into the ground by Xbox. And so now PlayStation goes, "Oh crap, guys, wake up. We got to Xbox woke up." And so they're going to clap back because they're not going to want to lose that position. Let me tell you something. When you're the king, you don't like to lose the crown. Don't you watch Game of Thrones? Don't you watch House of the Dragon? Nobody wants to lose the crown, right? So they're going to fight tooth and nail to make sure that those people stay on PlayStation. And so therefore, the competition starts breeding excellence, and then it's going to go back and forth. And Microsoft is going to go, "Holy crap, Sony came back. Guys, let's crank it up another notch." And then they start fighting, and it's wonderful for us.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's wonderful for the consumer. Yes.
Hold on. Noise FOMO in the chat says, Mag's video is 30 FPS, but his mouth is 260 FPS.
That's right.
That's such a great speech because
it's good for all of us as consumers. We need Xbox to do well so that PlayStation doesn't sit on their hands. And then PlayStation can't sit on their hands because then Xbox is going to sit on their hands.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You need them at each other's throat. You need to have them at each other's throat fighting for our attention.
Okay, you ready for this?
It all boils down to. Yes.
Here's a clippable moment. Don't you love it when I have these? You said that next year PlayStation is going to have their stuff in order.
No. I'm just saying I didn't say
they're
that.
They're going to be pushing harder next year.
They're going to try more because of what Xbox is doing. That the show they just did, plus they got Gamescom coming up. Anyways, yes, carry on.
So here's the thing. Noise Mofo says, "Love you, Meg." But obviously that was a joke.
Noisy
out of
Mofo,
love.
you rock. Yeah, no. He's on.
We appreciate you guys.
We love you, dude.
Magnum,
on the other hand.
Magnum, we loved him. We love to love him, is what we do with Magnum. So it's very interesting. Next generation no generation is the same. We all know that. Xbox has so many games that are going to be coming out of their first party. When we talk about the diminishing value or the popularity of the Xbox brand, I think it's only going to go up from here. PlayStation's problem is one of their biggest games they're ready to reveal, possibly in September when they reveal the PS5 Pro, for their big showcase will be September. That's Ghost of Tsushima 2, I'm pretty sure. Now, that's their biggest game, and that's one of my favorite PlayStation games. But I would not expect that game to look miles better than the PS4 version of a game, okay? So that game will look fantastic because it already does. Sony Santa Monica is not ready to show anything. Naughty Dog is not working on Uncharted. I think they've decided to work on Last of Us Part 3. We're not going to see that till next generation.
Yeah,
Sucker
guaranteed.
Punch, Naughty Dog, Sony Santa Monica, their biggest studios, don't have anything ready to show. So PlayStation fans are hungry for the big excitement they got to enjoy during the PS4 generation, because PS5 was just a rehash of the PS4. Xbox, on the other hand, is ton of variety. They're going to make some big moves. And although some of those games here or there might come to PlayStation, I think we're going to see a major shift in how popular the Xbox brand is, because they've not done anything for a decade. We just saw it 2 weeks ago, Mag. We just saw the real, actual Xbox that finally woke up. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the generations move on. Xbox is going to strike in with next generation in 2 years. PlayStation 5 is not coming out till 2028. So it's going to be really interesting as the shakeup is no longer this versus that. Xbox is going to bring a bunch of games. Those are all going to come from their studios, their partnerships. And here's the thing. Activision and Blizzard, Back and Pat, and Game Pass offerings, they're still not here. Even though this month and next month are really light months for game releases, we haven't heard a word about Xbox bringing those. And they're probably not going to bring them during the months they are absolutely packed with those 5 or 6 first-party games you talked about coming out this holiday from Xbox. So I think for people who are sitting back saying that PlayStation is going to dominate forever, I don't think they're going to dominate in the same way. And there's going to be that actual competition. Finally.
That's what we want.
Finally.
That's what we want. You want them competing, both of them, but they can't do it without the other. Because what ends up happening is if one is not towing the line, then the other one says, well, what's the point? What's the point of rushing? What's the point of cranking out these big, huge $200 million games? What's the point of pushing all this and that, whatever, if the other guys aren't doing squat? Right? And that's what ends up happening. It's this complacency that happened. And we know that Xbox had a rocky couple of years into the generation. They had one good year in the 2021, and then they had a crap year in 22, 23. Pretty crap for me anyway. I didn't think it was any good. And then 24, well, nothing yet, but it's coming.
They had some big moments here or there on each of those years. Yeah. Like Helldivers.
But like
huge.
Nothing. No. I'm talking about Xbox. And because Xbox was quieter.
Xbox
in this generation. Then PlayStation goes, why are we even trying? Why are we even pushing? Who cares? They're not doing anything.
Xbox is their direct competition, though. Not Nintendo.
Yeah, and then Nintendo's doing their own thing. So because that, now PlayStation's going, why do we even have to bother? And then all of a sudden Xbox had that showcase. And now PlayStation goes, oh, crap. Guys, get up. The threat's real. Yeah. And then that's when they go back and then they're like, okay, guys, we got to do something here because did you just see that? Right? And then they look at that and then they're like, start calling the studios.
You see that? Yeah. Look at it.
And then get Neil Druckmann to wake up and be like, dude, whatever the hell you're doing, get up and finish it. Do something. Get out there. Give me some trailers. Give me announcements. Give me, you know what I mean? So this is good for gamers because then all of a sudden, let's just say for argument's sake, let's say in 2025, the end of 2025, PlayStation has an incredible show, whatever the hell it is, right? Mm-hmm. And then that's when Xbox goes, man, we've had a really great year and a half. Holy crap, Sony's coming back. Guys, crank it up even a notch higher. Because then what you keep doing is you're building on top of each other, and just trying to one-up each other constantly. And by one-upping each other constantly, you're increasing the quality, you're increasing the frequency of the releases of the games. And who benefits? All of us, just the consumers. We're just going to keep getting better and better products, not products that come out and then take 3 months to fix. Because it's almost unplayable for the first 90 days because they're just trying to shove whatever crap they can get out of the door and say, whatever, man, we'll just finish it later. They will not do that when the competition is rocking the world. And that's why it's so important that both of them at one point or another have to be producing quality. In this respect, Xbox now has this upper hand. They got to start releasing, and of course, they got to stick the landing. And then when they do all that, and then whatever, that's when you're even going to get even better competition, because the other ones are going to say, "Oh crap, everybody's attention's over there. We need the attention back here." And the only way you could do that is by trying to one-up what they're doing. And this is why they always say the saying, competition breeds excellence, because you're constantly trying to one-up each other. And that's what's going to happen. And it's a wonderful thing for all of us. That's what it all boils down to, because I don't work for any of these companies. I don't shill for any of these companies. I am a consumer. And I want to play quality games. I want to come home from work. I want to be at work thinking about the game I just played the night before, going, I can't wait to go home.
Yeah, that doesn't happen often enough, you know?
It doesn't happen often enough.
Where you want to jump out of bed and play something, or get home, race home from work and play something. And we all say, what was our favorite generation? And it was, for most of us, it was probably the 360 and PS3, when both of them were like fighting head to head to have the best games and the best experience on console.
And because Xbox came out strong in the 360.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they got a little lucky too, because then there was, of course, the what was it called, the cell processor for the PS3. So a lot of third parties were skipping PlayStation.
Yeah,
and they were going straight to Xbox, and Xbox was essentially by default was getting some exclusives in there, and that's because the cell processor was difficult to develop for, and so they ended up with even more, and it was even better for them, and it was wonderful for that. And then what happened after that? Then the end of the PS3 era happened, and the PS4 happened. And then the PS4, well, we all know what happened there. Right? And so like that's what we need. We need that constant competition. That excites me as a consumer.
And I'm grateful we'll finally see it from Xbox, because it feels like the past 10 years they've done nothing.
It's been very quiet.
I had to love the multiplats, and I just didn't love the games during the Xbox One generation.
I was playing like some of my one of the best experiences I had on Xbox in the last 10 years, we'll say, was like Gears Hivebusters. I thought was better than the base game.
Yeah,
and I had an absolute blast with that. I got the full completion on that, and then I played it again, and just really enjoyed like stuff like that. Great. I thought Halo Infinite was awesome. Psychonauts 2 is my favorite platforming game of all time. I absolutely adore those games. So they do have them. It's just the cadence and frequency of them. It seems to be the issue, right? That's
the past 3 years have been pretty awful.
But now, that seems like they've solved that situation, right? So we're gonna see that come out at a steady cadence, and then you're gonna see what's gonna happen over there, and it's gonna build momentum, and that's important because, like I said, it's better for everybody in the end.
I mean, they said their console user base is higher than it's ever been, and they haven't even really started releasing their games. So everything's supposed to be on the up and up. And like you said about sticking the landing, so far everything they've shown is really promising. People are really iffy about Redfall from the very beginning. And I don't see them being so iffy about South of Midnight, maybe a little bit about Avowed. I was going to talk about Avowed and say that the developer said that it's going to be a 30+ hour game, which is right in the sweet spot for most gamers. It's supposed to be a nice
30 is perfect
RPG.
For me. Yeah,
it's perfect.
Yeah, that's a great. Like I know I'm going to be putting in 100+ hours into Dying Light 2, but that's a bigger experience. After I'm done with Dying Light, I'm actually going to be going back and doing Final Fantasy 16, which is going to, it's going to be like 150 hours. But I like that 30-hour. I could sneak a 30-hour game. I could sneak a 30-hour game in between the big experiences. I could see that. I have a lot of fun with that. Yeah, that's good. That's a good length.
Let me. I'm going to grab these supers and then we're going to get out of here. I was supposed to get out of here.
Sir.
While ago. Meg's actually got a lot going on, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Spartan661, thank you for the 5, says, Xbox is one of the biggest publishers and owns Call of Duty. Xbox has games. They can spin Sony out of business for the next 10 years. What's after that? Well, they'll make a ton of money off of PlayStation, but I don't think they're going to spend them out of business. The PlayStation brand is just far too big.
No.
Yeah.
And actually, now that they own what they own, which I've said from the beginning, that Microsoft, I don't think their intention was to really worry too much about Xbox. It was just to become the biggest third-party publisher in the world, which will make them way more money than just being a console, part of a console experience. So I see that absolutely that they need PlayStation, because PlayStation, like for example, Call of Duty this fall, I'd still place a gentleman's bet that most of the gamers will still be on out of the consoles, not PC. Out of the consoles, most will still be on PlayStation.
Yeah.
So they need each other. They absolutely need each other.
Yeah. I just think that I don't want to talk about that multi-platform thing. We're winding down. If you think everything's going to PlayStation, it's not even close. It's not even close. Especially right away. And I didn't even get into the whole Matt Booty thing like I was going to, because we did enough of that. And I appreciate you guys and I respect your time where it gets really super annoying. Let's see. We're at, let me see here. Udani Kizada, thank you so much for gifting 5 channel memberships 45 minutes ago. I'm just now seeing this. Appreciate you so much. Danny Passion Official says, my favorite YouTubers are Dealer, Colt, Fonz, and Zocker87. Oh, Zocker.
They're all in the same podcast.
They're all the same dude. I don't know if you guys know this, but Zocker, Fonz, and Dealer are the same person. They're just in a tall trench coat.
Yeah, it's the same person. They just changed their voice.
They're all good
have
friends.
You seen like voice actors? Yeah.
Yeah, they're all good friends. Scott Gamer Dude, thank you for the 5. Says, hello, guys. Hope the things are well. They are. Do you think it would be the standard for cross-platform, cross-save, cross-progression, or bundle deals on double dipping? I want cross everything to become a standard, especially for multi-plats. If I load up Elden Ring on PC, as Fonz was talking to me about this today, he bought the game on PC and he's like, I wish my save would come over. I log into the From Software server. Why can't it just convert it over?
Like the Activision ID.
Yeah.
Like the Activision ID, I could play on whatever system I want, and I could join with anybody I want, whoever has my Activision ID. Right? And then we could play on any system, anytime, join any party, no issues, no worries, no caveats.
Can you play the campaign on Xbox and go over to PlayStation and have
I have no idea.
Probably not. But
that I don't know. I never thought of that because I'm playing the multiplayer. I mean, I play the campaigns because I get all the achievements and the trophies and whatever. So I do all that. But no, when I go to the multiplayer, I can play with people on any system. It doesn't matter where they are.
Scott Gamer Dude, I think there are probably some terrible like technical webs that you can't just like bring a campaign save or progression over to another platform with like the integration of trophies. And it's just me speaking off of a guess. I'm sure there's like some technical things that just you can't just say, hey, they're on chapter 3 with all this stuff. It's probably way more involved, but I think the world will eventually move more toward that and be more ubiquitous. Last one from Steven Mewtwo says, thank you for the 5, Steven. Competition is what's needed for Xbox and PlayStation. That's why if Xbox goes under, that's where competition dies. And Steven's right.
Exactly.
If Xbox died, PlayStation would gouge even more than they already do.
Yeah,
so
of course, because who would be there to stop them?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't want any of that. You don't want any of that. I don't care what you like or what you're into. You could love just PlayStation, you can love just Xbox. I don't really care. But at the end of the day, they both need to exist for one reason or another. And it's a delicate balance, and you cannot have there's people out there, I can't wait for PlayStation to die. I can't wait for Xbox to die. Why? Yep. What, is it hurt your feelings? Did it rape your family? What did it burn down?
Tired of losing.
Village? Yeah, did it burn your village down? Did you get pillaged by them? Who cares?
Did it eat your cat?
They both need to. Yeah, they both need to be there, and they both need to do well. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's true. And it will. I mean, there's a lot of hot air coming out of Meg and I when we talk sometimes, but Xbox isn't going anywhere, and I don't think Game Pass is gonna be shut down anytime soon. I think it's doing pretty well. I think we're just surprised. You get in the microcosm of the moment, and it's funny that in 2022 when we were at E3, Hargeet probed Matt Booty and said, "So no games coming out this year, huh?" And Matt looked so annoyed because they were in the worst position they've ever been. And sometimes I think the callousness of Xbox brass saying yeah, whatever. I mean, it's a bad year. What are you going to do about it? But they're looking ahead. The bigger games are coming, and the bigger games fix the smaller games. And sometimes you make mistakes, and sometimes they make it up. I hated waiting, but I think there's a lot of great stuff coming. I'm just going to do this because I didn't get confirmation back. He's still in the chat. Greg, where I said, yo, where is he? I want to get his name right. Jeez, chat's moving. Yeah, Greg E3 Egg. I think you're still in the chat. You're still watching because I saw I punched your name in. We're giving you one of the Gears coins the Gears E-Day coin. I put it down on the overlay.
There you go.
Just
There
giving
you
away one today because I wasn't planning on giving away coins. I have a few more to give out, and but hit me up, Greg E3 Egg, when you see this message, and send me a email at colteastwood@gmail.com, and we will get you the form to get your coin. We appreciate all your support. Meg, what a crazy show. I thought we were going to go shorter than this, but you put out a tease that you're going to start making some content. And I would like to give you the opportunity to kind of hype that up. Well, my bro, what's going on? What are you doing?
Well, it'll be a couple of months, at least. It's going to be early fall. I'm going to be launching. I'm going to officially be launching. I mean, I've been doing content, but I do it for social media and stuff. But I will be doing official content on YouTube and Rumble under my YouTube channel, The Mag. It's all in capitals. It's already been up. Like, my channel's already there because I utilize it for, just to have my YouTube Premium or whatever, right? But I will be launching content there in the fall. I will not be starting with a podcast. I know some people think it's going to be a podcast. It's not. It's just going to be content about my thoughts, my feelings, just random things that come to my mind that have to do with the industry. I will be spreading out eventually into TV, into film, and of course video games and whatever else. And then one day,
so like we're doing it all type of thing.
Yeah, but I'm going to keep it like it's just going to be called The Mag Show, and that's why I'm going to keep it nice and simple, and it's all going to be there, but mostly focused on gaming. And then when something great comes along, like, whatever season of this, I'll talk about that, and I'll do like one-on-one reviews, or I'll do solo reviews, that kind of thing. Okay. My brother's going to be producing the channel for me, and we're going to be working on it together. I even have like a theme song we're going to be recording in the studio, the whole 9 yards.
You guys missed out because Mag and I were talking about a side thing that you were working on that you were supposed to launch early this year, and him and his brother made this theme song, and he played it for me, and I was blown away. Like, Mag's got some pipes, like great rock vocal, and this is coming from me. All right, great rock vocal.
It was a good.
But you never got
song,
to do
man.
That. Never came off, went off the ground, and so I'm excited to see what you and your brother come up with.
We are working on a new song in the studio. And he's got a studio, so I'm gonna go down to his studio, and then we're gonna work on it. I've already got the lyrics and everything, and I'm working on the back tracks right now, and then all that. So we're gonna be doing all that. We're gonna set up the channel, set up everything, whatever else that has to be done. Figure out how to do really funny thumbnails and whatever else, and then we'll do all that, and then we're gonna launch it. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's just gonna be me, the way I am, the way I talk, whatever else. And I'm not expecting to please everybody. In fact, in my teaser, I did say I plan on pissing off everybody. So the point is, it's just gonna be me. If I got one person watching, that's all that matters. I don't care. I don't even care if nobody watches. I'll be like, you know what? Don't even leave me a comment. Just whatever, man. I just want to say what I gotta say.
Judging by the reception, people are going to be tuning in, I'm sure.
Well, it's going to be. Listen, man. If people know me for what I am, and I don't really mince words, so it's going to be. Sometimes it'll be a little unhinged. Sometimes it'll be fun. I mean, it'll be funny. It'll be a little bit of everything. So, it's going to be interesting. So that'll be launching after the Labor Day weekend. So somewhere in the fall. So once everything settles down, and then I've got everything on the go, and then I'll be launching from there. So that's what's going on. Other than that, what else you got going on this week?
Are you still going to? Are you still going to be the co-host of XC?
Yeah. No, you know what? How many people have asked me that? And I'm like, guys, I didn't say I'm quitting XNC and doing my own thing. I said I'm just doing my own thing, but I'm not doing a podcast. So this would be the only podcast I do.
This has been the only place where you can absolutely berate people on a regular basis. And why would you ever want to lose that platform?
I'm not. But I will do live streams here and there where I'll be talking and doing whatever. And I will do a couple here and there, but I'm not going to do anything regular. What I will do is regular content, just like regular videos and stuff, but nothing highly produced, nothing like that. I mean, my brother will do the highly produced stuff, but a lot of the times it'll just be me getting on that mic and getting there and just like something comes to my mind.
Yet?
And well, it's under right now. It's just The Mag.
Okay, cool.
And then the name of the show is going to be The Mag Show. So that's it. But as it stands, like I might just get on there and just be like, yo, and then just like talk for 10 minutes about this and that, whatever, and thoughts and feelings about something, and then just move on. Because that happens to me all the time. Where I'm just sitting there, I'm like, God, I wanted to talk about this for like 10 minutes. And I don't have the avenue to do it. So I'm like, no, it's time for me to do this. So I'm going to get out there. I'm going to do it. And then we'll see from there. And if it starts to work and it starts to grow and it starts to spread, then I'll expand it. into maybe like a short podcast, a one-on-one show, something like that. Maybe one like something twice a month, where I could get a live chat going, where I could have just the interaction with people, and they could just ask me stuff directly and whatever else. I'll also be on Rumble, so I'm going to be.
What is Rumble? Is Rumble like a YouTube type service?
Yeah. It's just another one that's like you could basically say almost whatever you want. It basically doesn't have any rules, or very few rules in comparison to like YouTube. So yeah, so it might be a little bit more unhinged.
I've been thinking about starting a second channel to make content that's not so specific, but I don't know. Give that a thought, audience. Like if you would be willing to add a subscription to your free list of subscriptions to the Mags channel, or to my second channel if I made one. I had a couple ideas that are still sort of gaming related, but I don't know. I really don't like that idea of trying to manage two things. But when Mags starts getting things off the ground, we're going to start putting his link up on the so you guys can subscribe there. We'll have it in the description and all that stuff when we're ready. So yeah, we appreciate all of you guys. And let me make sure I got everything. There's one more. Risk It for the Biscuit says, Mag, will your camera still be 30 FPS?
My camera's 60 FPS. What are you talking about? It's a 4K camera too.
Yeah, and you know what?
I am gonna get better lighting too, by the way.
It really sucks because Mag and I have really good cameras, but Discord squishes everything down into its little restriction.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so annoying.
It's Discord. No, my camera is one of the best on the market.
Yeah.
Although I want to get some new lighting though. Like I like the lighting in here, but I want to get some better light. I want to get some new lighting.
Yeah,
but
one of these days,
my arcades are darker, right? So I'm gonna have to put artificial lighting in front.
Oh yeah.
I'll be working on that.
One of these days when Mag has to dip out and I have to kind of finish the show solo, I've got an overlay that has the full camera. It's like the direct feed, and you'll be able to see, because if you watch my videos, who cares? It's all technical stuff, but we do try to provide a great sounding and great looking show for you. We appreciate all of you for being here and hitting the like button. We're going to get out of here. Until next week, who even knows what will happen, but we'll be here for you and we will call you names. But we appreciate all of your support. Greg, let us know if you got the coin thing. We'll get that. We'll do some more coin giveaways. And I think that's it. Yeah, Blue Arrow says 4K. It looks like 720p. Absolutely. The Discord squishes your camera feed down to 720p. So what I do is I put it at full screen so it's as big as possible. So once it gets onto this overlay, it looks better than horrible. My camera's really super nice, but
I see people are already subscribing. Thanks, guys. It'll be a couple of months, but I appreciate that.
Wait, is your...
I saw C-Note and Rambo already did so. I was like, yeah, you guys are awesome. Yeah.
Let me look. I think I have... No, I don't. I don't have your on Twitter in here. That's so weird. Okay, well, I'll fix that. Anyway, all right, we're going to get out of here. We'll see you guys next week.
Have a great night.
Meg, I hope you rest up. We'll talk when the cameras go off. Hold on, I'm finding the button. There it is. Bye, guys. Meg, you look so upset. Bye.